Well, Bob, right now, let's leave this electronic stuff behind.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's get back to nature.
Nature?
It's spring, a time for planting. But if you attempted a garden last year, you already know. It's not easy keeping up with the Joneses. Having a beautiful flower garden is a lot of work. And if you're just beginning, you'll need to know a few things. Adolf and Dave Abisher have been in the nursery business for over 20 years. The brothers own the Fort Hill Nursery in Huntington. Adolf says they give a lot of advice to people who are just starting out.
First, I would find out where you were planting. If it's a sunny area, a shady area, and then we would go from there on the recommendations of the plants. And also, I would like to see some of the soil, maybe give it a soil test and find out what you actually need in that soil. And we go from there.
But Adolf says you don't start by planting outdoors. The beginning of April is the time to start your seeds and bulbs inside. And as a rule of thumb, by May 15th, they're ready to be planted outside.
Oh, just take them out of the pot and put them in the ground. Work a little peat moss into the soil, and in the case of bulbs, a little bone meal. And the rest of it, most of your annual plants, you'd use a liquid fertilizer when you plant.
Of course, it doesn't end there. A garden has to be maintained, and Adolf says, watering and checking for bugs that can destroy your beautiful flowers is very important.
It doesn't take that much care if they keep after it. If they let it go, and then they're lost. It cannot be forgotten, because the insects are the major problem. You'll have spider mites, and especially on your marigolds, the slugs love them. And they have to use insecticides, and for slugs, they have to use the pellets, methaldehyde pellets.
But before you start spraying bugs, you need to know just what kind you have. There are some signs to check for.
On chewing insects, chewed out areas on the leaves. Spider mites, that's a sucking insect. They'll get underneath the leaf and attach themselves and suck the juices out of the leaf. And there you see like little white spots on top. And if you see that, then you know you have spider mite. And it'll be like a dusty appearance on the bottom side, the underside of the leaf. Finding them and knowing that you have them is the hard thing. You have to keep checking in your garden to find out that you do have them. Many people find them after it's too late and the plant can't be brought back anymore. And that's one of your biggest enemies. And slugs in marigolds. Usually people, what they do, they just do it on say a 2-week basis. They'll just go out and spray to keep everything out. Even if they don't have anything, they'll just do it that way.
But insects are not the only intruders you have to watch out for. When you have a flower garden, you have to take the good with the bad, and that means dealing with plants that just pop up uninvited.
Yes, the biggest job is weeding, keeping the weeds out. There are some chemicals that you could put down to keep the weeds down, which makes it a lot easier. Especially as the plants grow, when they get close together. Well, that does retard the weeds somewhat, but still they come up through, and when getting in there, you can ruin plants when you get in there with weeding. That's why the chemicals are good.
Well, I hope all of this talk hasn't discouraged some of you beginners, and that you're still going to give it your best shot. Of course, keep in mind that not all of us were meant to have a green thumb. But it's like everything else. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're almost certain to get the desired results.